What's up, folks? We've been away for some time, but we are back. We are preparing for an exciting week of StarCraft with IEM Katowice, and we're gonna be starting things off with a replay here. It's gonna be a PVZ or ZVP, however you want to call it, between some random Protoss player on the ladder by the name of KillerBeez and everybody's favorite aggressive Zerg, Mr. Kevinnleee. Kevin brings in the views, so let's see what he has in store for us this game. KillerBeez sending a relatively early probe out. Gonna spot that hatchery. Drops a pylon down right away. Now, did Kevin see that? No, didn't see that with the Overlord. Doesn't see that with the hatchery. So this pylon gonna get up. No problemo. And we do have a forge back at home for the Protoss player, so it's going to be a cannon and a gateway to block off that area so drones cannot attack the cannon. And he's going to put down a pylon at the high ground as well. Now this Kevin for sure sees, but no reaction. He's not gonna pull any drones just yet. Maybe he isn't really buying it, but this is serious. And the cannon's up now. Gonna start shooting away at the hatchery. Should cancel that because I don't see a way for him to keep that, but no cancel. So that hatchery gonna probably go down. That's gonna be 300 minerals down the drain. Now Kevin did pull drones to deal with the high ground rush, but this cannon is gonna complete with just a little bit of HP. I think it got one kill. And now Lings are out, so that should be the end of this rush, at least on the high ground. This low ground cannon still being a nuisance. KillerBeez trying to drop another one, but the creep gonna deny that. Kind of lucky there. And ooh, no, that was a spine crawler, I think. A little too close to that cannon, does get shot down. No cancel on that either. That's unfortunate. And all this time, Kevin has been mining gas. Should have probably pulled out of that much earlier. This 250 gas he has right now, pretty useless. And oh wait, hold on, he didn't even start speed. Oh no, that is bad. Definitely should have started speed like 2 minutes ago. Down goes that hatchery. That is pretty bad, but I mean, this is a lot of investment from KillerBeez, so Kevin shouldn't be too discouraged just yet. I mean, he is down on workers and everything, but I mean, look at all this investment. There's like 3, I think, pylons. There were those 2 cannons over there. And these cannons, I don't think they can possibly get up. Not with all these Lings and Queens and a spine crawler. So yeah, that's a lot of money. And Kevin gonna be able to clean that up here, and KillerBeez continuing this cannon rush, putting down additional pylons and cannons on the low ground here, but the high ground spine crawler and the 2 queens gonna be able to take out this pylon and cannon. That's pretty good. And Kevin gonna run out with a handful of slow Lings. Still no speed in production. When's he gonna... Oh, there he is. Finally notices, but that is so late. And that initial cannon did go down. It's gonna be so hard for Kevin to break out of his position, get out of his base, reclaim the natural hatchery. KillerBeez gonna recall those 2 zealots to deal with this Ling run by, but I think the cannon by itself would have been just fine. And these Lings gonna turn around after making their way all the way across the map. So no counter damage to be found for Kevin. And make no mistake, he is definitely behind, but it's not as bad as some might think. Again, this is a huge commitment that KillerBeez has invested. His tech back at home, virtually non-existent. He has this cyber core, but that's about it. We don't see any further tech just yet. And by that I mean no Twilight Council, no Robo facility, no Stargate. And he's just investing money into fortifying this low ground position. He's slowly producing units out of the gateway. And okay, finally starting some additional tech. It's going to be a Stargate. But again, it's at this proxy location, so not too much going on back at home, not even researching Warp Gate, not utilizing his Nexus energy. The main base completely full on energy. And really should have started that Warp Gate tech earlier. Kevin with speed now finally done, trying to see if he can find an opening, but this wall is pretty good. It is bustable. Kevin gonna be getting some banelings back at home. Now, I don't think he's gonna use these to attack despite this rally. It would have been better to run them out as Lings first. So I do think this is just gonna be to break out of here, and indeed there go the banelings. They do crash into a couple of the cannons and the pylons. Does depower all the cannons, so that opens the door for the rest of these Lings to hopefully clear up this position. And this Void Ray very close to coming out. Can Kevin get the pylon in time? Yes, he does! Perfect timing there, nicely done. I mean, not that he could have predicted that, but well done nonetheless, denying that Void Ray. And that's going to force KillerBee to remake that Stargate back at home. Again, his tech is pretty far behind, but so is Kevin's for that matter. But he's finally going to break out of this position. And oh my goodness, look at this guy going for a hidden base as well. And now Kevin with a lot of Lings, 48 Lings, versus 1 Zealot. Big opportunity here for Kevin to hopefully bust down this wall and get some counter damage done. Well, this is a pretty bustable wall. I do think Kevin spotted most of it. Yeah. And pretty big scout there from KillerBeez, identifying that Baneling bust, giving him a little bit of heads up. And here come the Banelings. They bust down a pylon and a battery right away, but not quite enough to finish off this cannon. And some additional cannons being produced down here, and just barely not enough. These Lings are gonna find some damage, but not really what Kevin was looking for. I think he only got 4 or so probes there. Units lost. 10 probes have gone down this game, but I don't know how many went down from the bust. But safe to say Kevin needed a little bit more than that, and this is pretty bad now. The Stargate's up, the wall is being remade, and Kevin gonna try again, but I think the window for that has kind of closed. There's way too many cannons here. These are pretty protected. And this shield battery. Let's see if he can find something. Only 6 banelings. I don't think that's gonna be enough. And only a few of them making contact with the wall, so not even able to bust down the initial cannon and battery. So that is gonna be a bit of a failure. Kevin gonna run back home and drone up. He is quite massively behind right now. 18 drones to 46 probes. 2 base to 3 base. This hidden base from the Protoss. So things are looking pretty grim for our hero here. In blue, we have one random Phoenix just hanging out, can't really do much. And oh my god, this guy going for DTs now as well. Just every dirty move in the Protoss playbook being brought out here. And this Phoenix trying to make itself useful. Kind of odd that KillerBeez hasn't made any additional air units. He is starting another Void right now. He goes... not sure what that means. E bracket PO period backslash apostrophe. If anybody knows what that means, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring that bell. And yeah, Kevin going for a Hydralisk Den, and he has droned up a little bit to 33, but his opponent sitting at 64 probes, getting another hidden base there. Kevin running across with a bunch of lings now. Don't think they'll be able to find anything. And curious to note that Warp Gate still not researched. In fact, he's going for air upgrades instead. Also got charge, which implies he is going to be going for at least some zealots. Kind of weird not to get Warp Gate then. He's getting more gateways. He also has some here. Probably going to get some here. Perhaps as just a wall, but it's so strange that this guy's not getting Warp Gate. It's not a terribly expensive upgrade. Only 50 minerals, 50 gas, I believe. And he's getting the tech for more gateway units. There's this Templar Archives. So I don't understand. A cheeky little recall going down there to saturate this hidden base here. Gotta tell those probes to get to work. And Kevin gonna be going for his third base now. Just barely mining from that for now. Some additional drones going to be transferring there. Kevin going to be getting his 1-1 upgrades. His Hydralisk Den is complete, and he does finally scout this base, but shield battery overcharge going to be pretty good. Of course, a few probes going to go down, but not a worthwhile attack for Kevin. 18 probes lost this game, so I guess that was 8 that went down there. Okay, but don't think it was worth it. And here comes, I think, a single Zealot and 4 DTs. Kevin quickly morphing that Overseer there, so I'm gonna be pretty solid against that. KillerBeez floating a lot of money. Gonna need some more production facilities. Does drop down 3 more gateways. And still no Warp Gate. What is this guy doing? Is he just like messing around? Is he a new player? Doesn't know you need Warp Gate? I really don't understand. But he does have high Templars now. He did research Storm, so these guys just accumulating energy, and when he finally moves out, he can drop storms. And everybody knows that's a very devastating ability. And Kevin's still not really droning up this third base. Got some more drones in production. Only at 43 right now. Meanwhile, his Protoss opponent sitting at 92. That is pretty insane. You don't really see Protosses get to such a high worker count usually. But the game is in KillerBeez's hands right now. He's got 4 bases. He's got a lot of tech now. Let's see what Kevin's reaction to this is. I think he's expecting a higher air count, but looks like KillerBeez just abandoned that fully. He just has this one Void Ray, and that's it. So maybe a bit of a bamboozle there. However, Hydras do lead into Lurkers, and Lurkers, wait, that's not the Lurker den. There it is. Lurkers, very good against all things ground. So if Kevin can get to that, I think he'll be just fine against these gateway units that KillerBee keeps sending out. Here comes a really random little attack here. A handful of Zealots and a few High Templars. Not really an army you see all too often. And meanwhile, Kevin going for a bit of an attack of his own. Lings and Hydras. Gonna not really be able to break this location. Not yet at least, but these Lurkers in production, they might be able to do the trick. And here's that attack that I was talking about earlier. This really random Zealot High Templar attack. They are going to be able to get that base. Kevin pulls back with his Hydras and gets right on top of the High Templar. So these storms doing a lot of friendly fire as well. Not sure if that was really worth it for KillerBeez, but then again, he does have 5 bases now, so he's pretty rich. I guess it's fine for him. 98 probes, that's a little insane. Throwing away those High Templars though. It's not free by any means, and we see that KillerBeez's gas is very, very low. He could just warp in a bunch of Zealots though. 2k minerals in the bank. And by warp in, I mean slowly produce them out of his gateways, because again, he still doesn't have warp gate. This guy is crazy. How do I see how many buildings he has? What's the button for that? Whoops, that was pause. I'll find it eventually. Oh crap. Don't know what happened there. Alright, anyways. Oh, okay, that skips ahead a little bit. Alright. Oh no! What am I doing? Ah! Alright, we're gonna take a look at this fight once again while I try to figure out how to see how many buildings this guy has. What is the hotkey? Take a look at what KillerBeez is looking at here. And yeah, this is everything we've already seen before. And now Kevin going for the Hive. That is, of course, very important to get those Lurker upgrades. But the game still firmly in KillerBeez's hands right now. And still not the right button. Structures, there we go. It is T. 22 gateways. Alright, that's what I wanted to find out. small zealot run by here gets shredded up by these 5 defensive lurkers. And handful of zealots over here just hanging out. They can go for a counterattack later on. This 5th base, I'm gonna do a recall and start mining from that. 101 probes. This is craziness. And now KillerBeez getting a fleet beacon. So is he gonna shift into Sky Toss? That could be devastating, but he does only have 1 Stargate. He is very oversaturated on this base. His gases are wacky. 1 probe on this one, 4 on this one. And not mining out of these gases, so I don't know. I'm not sure if this guy is just messing around or if he's just garbage. But he is making it work for now. Going for another Zealot High Templar attack here. No reaction to the storms. Kevin just eating them up like croissants. And that base went down once again. Kevin still on only 48 workers. But the hive is done. Lurker upgrades on the way, and we don't really see any sort of transition for KillerBeez. He got that fleet beacon, but as far as I can tell, he's not using it. Going for another Zealot High Templar attack here. Really random. I don't understand why he decides to go for this composition. Like, the storms are just gonna hit his own zealots. It really doesn't make sense to me, but he is getting some kills and he's still very rich. But he can't afford to do this all game, can he? As Kevin is gonna be okay, I think, with this many lurkers. His upgrades 3-3 are on the way, and we've got a High Templar shooting a creep tumor. That is not something you see every day. And KillerBeez getting another 2 bases here. This is wild. We have a 7 base Protoss. Zerg only on 3 bases, trying to get 4, but has not been able to as of yet. And KillerBeez just slowly churning out Zealots and High Templars, rallying over to the corner of the map. And again, this fleet beacon completely useless thus far in the game. A bunch of random probes doing nothing. I think KillerBeez needs to start sacking some of these workers. He has 116 probes. That's a little too much. Another Zealot High Templar run by. Some storms going down, but lurkers, they can tank a couple storms, and 2 of them gonna go down, but all the High Templars have been taken out. This base has been successfully defended for now. We've got a random sentry here with some additional High Templars, a single Stalker. And how are the upgrades? KillerBeez has +3 armor? Is that armor or shields? I don't even know. +1 attack and +1 air attack. Very random set of upgrades there for the Protoss player. Kevin, he does have his 3-3, so his lurkers, his Hydras, gonna be pretty good. And now finally, Kevin gonna be able to find some counter damage. And what does KillerBeez have in response to this? Just Zealots and High Templars. It's very random unit composition once again, dropping some storms. And that's not how you want to do your storms. they do not stack. So you want to wait for the first one to finish before you drop the second one at the same spot. Very inefficient with his spell casting there. He does get a few drones at the cost of everything he had. And Kevin gonna find some damage here, taking out that base. But KillerBeez still has many more, so he's not too worried right now. But Kevin finding an opening, gonna go for the natural, gonna take out a lot of KillerBeez's tech. And where are his units? His Zealots, his High Templars, they are not in position. And he has way too many workers. Like, he has so many structures, 23 gateways. He's got a lot of tech, but he only has room for about 80 supply of army. And that means Kevin's army is just going to be that much better as he pushes on up into the main. Gonna take out a lot of the tech here. Take out the fleet beacon, the robo, the Templar archives, Dark Shrine, a lot of the gateways. And are we seeing a crazy comeback out of kevinnleee? I think we might be. A random squad of 4 Templars gonna take out, no, not gonna take out 2 Hydras. Oh, never mind, they do. But 2 Hydras for 2 High Templars, that's fine. And the main base are gonna be forfeit here. Another small attack going on, but Lurkers just so good. Kevin even microing the Lurkers, repositioning them to the back, dropping transfuses on them. Beautiful micro out of Kevin. And oh no, loses that one Lurker there. Look at its bones. Did you see that? But solid defense there on 32 workers. This is insane. The Protoss has 115 workers still, but he has no army. This is crazy, and his main base has been completely destroyed. He has no tech anymore. He's rebuilding his cybernetics core for what? I mean, he doesn't even make stalkers. I think he had like 2 or something. And then he's just going zealots. This attack gonna be a little bit more successful. Gonna get a bunch of drones. Might get this base, but KillerBeez has no answer to this Hydra Lurker army. And he's just losing base after base after base. And we see the supplies have evened up. Kevin's army supply at 120 to the 45 of the Protoss. 43 now, and it just keeps dropping as he keeps throwing away units to the Lurkers. What a miraculous comeback from Kevin. And what an absolute throw from the Protoss. Just, I have no idea what this guy was doing, not getting Warp Gate. Only going Zealot High Templar with a handful of Dark Templars mixed in. And he's going to be losing more bases here. He still has the top of the map, but his production has been completely shot. And despite his 77 workers, his tech has been set back to, well, what it was 3 minutes into the game. And Kevin, with his Hydras, with his Lurkers, poised to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat here. KillerBeez, can't imagine what he's thinking, but I don't think he's too pleased with himself. A very satisfying game for the Zerg player and any Zerg fans out there. KillerBeez hanging in there, still on even bases, to be honest. But again, this army just way too powerful. And Kevin throwing out a cheeky feels bad, doesn't it? Well deserved, Kevin. And just waiting for KillerBeez to leave the game now. More zealots and probes gonna be going down to lurkers. KillerBeez throws out a GG, and Kevin gonna take that beautiful comeback victory.